You ever have one of those moments where life just slams the brakes so hard you swear you can hear the universe grinding its gears? Yeah, that was me standing there with a bag of oranges staring at a woman I'd never met while she pointed at my son and hissed, "Is that your boy? The one with the hair? You need to get him out of my sight before I decide. He's a threat to my property. This neighborhood used to be clean." You know, nothing says welcome to the neighborhood like your kid being called a criminal before you've even finished unpacking. My son, 19 years old, brilliant, soft-hearted dreads he keeps tidy and proud of. He just froze halfway through hauling in groceries. All he'd done was exist in a place we were finally calling our own. And she stared at him like he was a pile of garbage that had blown into her perfect little beige bubble. I remember stammering, "Excuse me," while she sniffed, spun on her orthopedic heel, and retreated to her palace across the street. I figured she was just another cranky old lady every street seems to have. Oh, if only it was that simple. Fast forward a few months, we're settled in my son's home for summer after crushing his first year of college on a scholarship. He buys himself a new mattress, the kind that costs more than my first car, and he's sleeping like a king. I'm at work. My husband's running errands, and my son's at home deep in a video game. When he hears something upstairs, first he thinks it's the house settling, but the noise gets louder, more determined, a dragging, thumping, scraping sound. He walks up the stairs, and there she is, the ghoul, as we started calling her in our house, in his room, dragging his brand new mattress out like she owned the place. Let me paint this for you, this little old lady in beige pants and a lime green shirt trying to haul a queen-size memory foam mattress down our hallway. My son's just standing there on the landing, lost between disbelief and comedy. He says, can I help you?" And she whips around, not embarrassed, not scared, but absolutely furious, like she's been caught mid-evil monologue. She drops the mattress and starts shouting about citizens' repossession, how the property is clearly stolen, and how she's performing her duty for the homeowners association. Now, I know this sounds made up, but I swear her logic was like a fever dream. She starts accusing him of using drug money for the mattress, says she's taken it as evidence for the HOA. The entitlement was next level, like she believed she could just march into our house and take what she pleased. My son, ever the peacemaker, stands in her way and says, "Ma'am, please stop. I'm going to have to call the police if you don't leave." And that, my friends, is when things went from sitcom to full-blown horror movie. Her eyes lit up. She shrieked, "Oh, you think you can threaten me? I'll call the police on you. They'll believe me. They always believe people like me." And she did right there, dialing 911 and transforming her voice into the frailest old lady act you've ever heard. "Help! There's a big scary man in my house," she cried, giving them our address but claiming it was hers, describing my son like he was an intruder. He backed away, pulled out his phone, his hands shaking, and called me. Nothing like getting that call at work. I answered expecting, "What's for dinner?" Instead, I hear my son's voice, barely a whisper. "Mom, you have to come home right now." Every parent knows that sound. The bottom dropped out of my world. The neighbor lady's in the house. She tried to steal my bed. She called the cops, said, "I attacked her. They're on the way." I left my job in a blur, running for my car, dialing my husband with the kind of panic that you don't come back from. He was already closer. He said, "I'm 5 minutes out. Tell him to stay calm. I'll be there first." By the time my husband got home, 2 police cruisers were parked out front, lights painting the neighborhood in blue and red. My son was standing on the porch with his hands up. My husband walking up slow and careful, doing his best. I'm not a threat impression for the officers. Meanwhile, the ghoul was on our lawn, putting on the performance of her life, weeping, clutching her chest, pointing at my son and spewing every lie in the book. One officer turned to my husband. "Sir, you need to stay back. This is an active scene." My husband, always calm, said, "That's my son. This is our house. What is going on?" The ghoul turned it up a notch, wailing. "They're a gang. They're trying to take over the neighborhood. I just came over to welcome them, and this animal attacked me." The word animal just hung there like a curse. The cops started questioning my son, not like a victim, but like a suspect. Do you have ID? Can you prove you live here? Meanwhile, the woman who had broken in was being led on a tour of our home, pointing at things, inventing more lies. My husband just stood there helpless and furious, praying nothing would happen before I arrived. I screeched onto our street, adrenaline pumping fire through my veins, and what do I see? My son being questioned on our porch like a criminal. My husband on the curb and the ghoul standing in our doorway, smug as ever. I stormed up, yelling, "What is going on here? Get away from my son." And the cop tells me, "Ma'am, you need to calm down." Calm down, you know what I mean? My baby's being treated like a criminal on our own porch while the woman who broke in is playing victim. Then the ghoul shrieks, "There's the other one she taught him to be a criminal. There are a whole family of them." That's when my husband lays it out calm and logical. The only person who's broken any laws is her. So why is my son being treated like a suspect? But we were up against more than just a neighbor. We were up against a system that was ready to believe her story, no matter how absurd. She starts throwing out HOA buzzwords, claiming she's on the Architectural Review Committee, citing fake bylaws about aesthetics and community standards, and the officers just nod along, investigating a code violation for a mattress in a bedroom. I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. Then twist of the century. Two burly guys pull up in a black SUV decked out in fake security gear, embroidered eagles on their shirts, strutting across our lawn like knockoff mall cops. "The HOA's enforcement division is here now," Carolyn declares, grinning. The cops actually pause. These goons, Frank and his greasy-haired sidekick, start threatening my son, telling him to get out before you get hurt, right in front of the real police who just stand there overwhelmed. My husband steps in calm as ever and says loud enough for everyone to hear, "These men are not with our HOA. I'm the board treasurer. I know our contractors. You are witnessing multiple felonies, trespassing, impersonating an officer, intimidation, and breaking and entering. Are you going to enforce the law or let this circus continue?" Suddenly, the police start acting like police again, demanding ID. Of course, the goons have none. They slink off Carolyn's smug face, crumbling as her plan falls apart. Finally, the cops tell her she's under investigation and to stay off our property. But we know it isn't over. As soon as they leave, we check our cameras, doorbell, hallway, everything. And there it is. Full HD footage of Carolyn breaking a window with a rock, letting herself in, dragging the mattress, lying, screaming, calling in her private goon squad, all of it undeniable proof. And then out of nowhere, our quiet neighbor Mrs. Gable comes over with muffins, and a gift her security footage caught everything too. We marched that mountain of evidence straight to a civil rights lawyer, a real bulldog. She watches the tapes, jaw clenched, and says, "Well, I hope she enjoys court because we're pressing every charge possible. We file for a restraining order, launch a civil suit, and hand everything to the DA." But Carolyn, she doubles down, filing petty code complaints about grass height, trash cans, and even the color of our welcome mat, death by 1,000 HOA paper cuts. Then she starts a smear campaign telling neighbors we're criminals, whispering about drug deals and gang activity, even emailing my son's college to accuse him of violence and fraud, trying to get his scholarship revoked. The school investigates. We show up with our lawyer, the video evidence character letters, and our neighbor's testimony. My son gets cleared, the university apologizes, and Carolyn adds another nail to her own coffin. Next comes the HOA meeting. My husband, as board treasurer, gets our case on the agenda, and we show the neighborhood everything. One by one, folks start to stand up, stories about her bullying threats and racist remarks pour out. The board strips her of every position, bans her from events, and drafts new anti-harassment rules on the spot. Carolyn bolts out, finally shamed. But the real victory comes when we hire a PI to ID. The goons, turns out they're her nephew and grandnephew, one with a criminal record for assault. We give all this to the cops, and the DA finally acts warrants for Carolyn, Frank, and his son. Burglary, conspiracy, hate crime enhancement, you name it. We watch from our living room as police cuff Carolyn on her porch. Neighbors peek out, some nod, some breathe a sigh of relief. The spell is broken. Now the lawsuit is moving, the criminal charges are real, and my son, my beautiful, resilient, tired but undefeated son, is packing for college, no longer a victim, but a survivor. He looks at that mattress and laughs. It's kind of a trophy now, huh? And you know what? It is. We took back our home, our peace, and even a little bit of faith in justice. So tell me, after all of that, what would you have done? When the system tries to crush you, do you fight back or just hope for the best? I want to hear your stories, your thoughts on what real justice looks like. Drop your take in the comments. And if you've ever stood up to hate, or if you're still fighting your own battle, know you're not alone. Sometimes the best revenge is just holding your ground until the truth finally sets you free.